This one is saying that the guy deliberately agreed to no sex before marriage, only for her to find out after marriage that he can't do the thing. He can't get it up.
I'm so confused. What do you mean that he can't get an erection?
He can't perform, Mimi. Save us.
Wow. No, listen now, Pastor Manny. This is why I feel like also like we are getting real in the church now. So the men's conference, I'm sure they're going to be helping them out. They're going to be helping them out and how to get themselves together in the bed. That's the most I can say. But you have to answer that question. I'm not a man.
Yeah. So she says the guy's impotent.
But
so that means
for me, honestly and truthfully, right? This is why. Can I be honest with you? For ladies that are not married, right, there is no one that will be able to tell you about secrets of a man's heart than God himself. People always ask me, what is it that you look for when you're getting married? I don't look for money. I don't even look for your vision, because literally you can get a vision in a moment of in a twinkle of an eye. I look for your heart and how you feel. Like, I'm talking about whether you are a choir leader. I don't care whether you're a pastor's peer. I always say to people, God forgive me, but then pastor's peer sometimes can be the worst.
Sorry, Mimi, just some people are asking what the question was. So the question, guys, was this couple is saying that the man deliberately agreed to no sex before marriage, and then they got married, and she found out that he was impotent, so he couldn't do the thing.
Right. So for me, when you talk about someone that fears God, right? What you have is somebody who has built your marriage on a lie. That's somebody that doesn't fear God. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because also, I know people, for example, right? Well, I don't know them. I've heard these testimonies where one person was HIV positive.
I heard about, there was one I heard about, yeah.
Right? But then in this particular situation, that person was honest enough to say, this is what I am. Yeah. And the man made the decision to say, God told me you are my life.
Wow.
That was the man's choice, though. She had to give him that choice. You cannot, this is what we were talking about earlier, right? You cannot steal people's choices away from them, right? And so that he made that decision. So what he could do was he could fight through that spiritually. Now, what happened was that he actually fought through that spiritually, right? And she turned out negative later on. God healed his wife.
Yeah.
But that was for him to decide. And that was for him to decide whether that was a battle he was willing to take on, right? Yeah. Now, somebody can't do that. Someone can't know that they are ill and then take that information. Like, when you get married, you should know each other's everything. You should know how much debt you're in. People think it's just sex. It's not just sex. You should know how much. Like, you can't be getting married and then you're like 25K in debt and I don't know anything about it. As in, are you for real? Do you understand what I'm saying? If you have a credit card that's £100, your spouse needs to know that you have a credit card that's £100. So you need to get into marriage, everything lay bare. This is who I am. Like, okay, I have my dad's in prison. You got to tell that. You might be like, oh, that's not my story for me to tell. I don't care. That is now his dad. So he now needs to know that information. So for me, that was not. So what you can do from this situation is now go on. It literally needs counseling and the help of God, because it's not just the sex that's the issue, but the trust that has been broken.
Yeah.
Just know what I'm saying. You're stealing away somebody's right to choose. It's not right.
I do. I agree with you completely. So if the relationship is built on lies, the Bible tells us that if the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do? So before you take any action, guys, whoever that impacts, do seek counsel. Go to someone who's accountable to, and then let them walk you through, because it's very difficult to legislate for every situation on here.
Right.
And then I wanted to say something. I was like, you know, there's so much going on in the world out there that we sort of feel like as if, you know, there's just no power. Everything is all bleak, and then there's just nothing, you know. But, you know, there's so many testimonies, like maybe that testimony is amazing, that God is still God still has power. His power, even if every single person in the world takes, a good 50%, he doesn't run out. No. And I think the thing is, like, a lot of people, you know, we're getting to a situation in which the culture and trends and society is actually determining fate and belief systems. And then what is happening is that the that knowledge of God is being eroded, you know,
Yeah.
and then you sort of like just give up. But God still has power. There is a power in faith. Prayers still work. You know, don't let any other person, you know, counsel you based on what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
Heaven is a wonderful place, and there's so much power there. So let's just keep our hope alive.
Absolutely.
But this one's about dating. So it says, is it okay for my spouse's best friend to be someone of the opposite sex? So if I'm a girl, can he have a best friend who's another girl?
I'm from South London. Do you want to answer that or should I?
and if it's a guy and my girl has a best friend is another guy, is that okay?
You know,
I
that's
don't know
so
about
great.
And before you answer that, also let me just add in the one that is it okay to still be very, very cozy with your ex? Because that's another one I hear about quite a bit, particularly the guys with their exes who are female.
Let me tell you something, right? If you need a female best friend, and you are my spouse, her name is Mimi Ajala. That is who your female best friend is. Let me tell you something, right? Let me tell you something. Like, people do some foolery, right, that they need to stop. There is no way that, why, even for the girl, I don't care whether you've known him since he was 6 years old, right? There needs to be.
They go way back. They go way back. They're childhood friends.
I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. And this thing is about this a disrespect as well, because genuinely there are friends that I had who are guys. I'm a guy girl, like that's possible. But once you get to a certain age and these people start bringing in their wives, then you're for me, it's a disrespect for you to still maintain that closeness with the guy. My relationship now turns to his wife and his spouse as a respect of the union that they have. Let me tell you something, right? You need to be wise about how you check. There's some foolishness that you should not be taking into your marriage, like, and that is one. I'm telling you that for a fact. There is no way that, can you imagine now, and I always say this, right? I don't care who you are. There comes a point when boys and girls are friends where one person likes the other. It happens all the time.
You see. So I subscribe to a view, and people have taken me out for this. I've said most guys, and guys, forgive me if you think I'm wrong. Most guys cannot have platonic relationships with a woman without having some fantasy somewhere. It's difficult. It's very difficult.
Ladies, like I said, come here.
I don't know, you know, Hollywood is selling us all sorts of dreams, you know.
There is just...
If there's a guy that you really, really like, the fastest way to turn into his wife and not his, is to become his best friend. Wife. Right? Become his best. I'm not talking about the guy, girl, no, as in the girl that he comes and he wants to talk about his vision and his dreams and his fears. The minute a guy starts telling you his fears, you just go choose the engagement.
So lots of people on the live are disagreeing that guys and girls can be platonic best friends and nothing.
It doesn't have to happen. Do you know the thing is that people think of it as a journey, people think of it as a moment rather than a journey, right?
Yeah.
You might not like the person. You might never like that person, but you cannot speak on the behalf of that person. Do you understand what I'm saying? So somebody was like, oh, I never fancied my friend that's a guy. That's fine. I didn't say you fancied him, but your best friend that's a guy probably would have fancied you.
He might fancy you.
Or even have thought of options. You understand? And one thing, like, even when you look at married couples, let me tell you something, right? It's a disrespect of your marriage. If you're talking about married couples now, on your marriage, where you are taking your wife's flaws, you're taking your wife's weaknesses, and you're discussing them with another woman. That's a disrespect to her. And vice versa, the boy. That's different from saying, and when you have an opposite sex, right? Yeah. It's so you take that situation and you put it before counsel, not to the best friend. And what happens now? Especially when the devil is smart, and the Bible tells us that we find ourselves in trouble because we think we are wiser than the devil. Now, what happens is this. Now, look at this. Look, let me paint this picture for you. The wife that you are not in the moment of argument, what you are failing to do in that moment, that best friend begins to exhibit those qualities that your husband or your wife thinks that she's lacking at that moment in time, there you have presented the devil an opportunity to come into your home. So this is why it's this wisdom about how we go about doing what we do, and how we go about what almost like living our lives. Do you understand? I don't know if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Somebody said impossible, except the girl looks like Yoda's butt. Listen, I don't know what Yoda's butt is, but let me tell you something, right? Even then, at that point, where she's the one that's picking up the mess that the wife's not picking, or vice versa, right? Even there, she looks like gold to that boy.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Another one for you, Mimi. So this girl and Gab been dating for a while. But the girl says he doesn't stimulate me mentally, because and I find that if I'm going to get advice, I'll ask him for advice. He'll give me advice, and most of the time his advice is not great. But I go outside to my friends who are male, and I get better advice that aligns with me. But we're engaged. We might be getting married, but I'm just unsure now. What do you say to that?
You see, can I be honest with you? It's hard to submit to somebody you don't respect. If you are dating somebody and you don't respect him, personally, forget it. Right? Because that's what God has asked you, not that you should choose to do, but that you must do. Yeah. So imagine now, and Bookie, just see if you testify with this. For me, I am a very well-accomplished woman, right? Now, there are some things that my husband might tell me to do. I feel my choice is better. I feel like I may know better. I can bring my views before him. But if he says, now, I think this is the way we are going, right? I have to be able to submit to his leadership at times when I don't even agree with it.
Sure.
But I have watched God preserve my home. As in, I'm talking about whether it be our finances, whether it be talking about making decisions that could have destroyed myself, my children, right? Because if you look at scriptures, look at God. It was Mary that was pregnant with Jesus, but God spoke about the safety and the rescuing of that child to Joseph.
Yeah.
So if you don't regard him, when God tells you to do something you don't get to your home, you're going to put your home in danger, right? Because you don't respect him. Now, that for me, I feel like is the thing that you need to guard. The responsibilities. Can I submit to this man? Do I trust that he knows and he hears God's voice? One. And do I respect him enough to follow him and his leadership, especially when I don't understand or see the picture? This is where a lot of people, because it's easy to submit when you agree. Yeah. But if you look at what the Bible tells us about Sarah, she submitted to her husband even when her husband was in the wrong. What happened? What happened? God stepped in because of the covenant that he said, submit. I told you to submit. He stepped in and he defended that home when they couldn't defend themselves. So for me, if you can't respect a guy, you have no business marrying him.
Sure.
I would add to that one of the golden rules. I'm one of those people that give steps, but not steps in that way. I just say I talk about maybe I would call it red flags.
Yes.
Don't marry a man you can't submit to. That's one of the things I said. I actually got trolled about saying this on Instagram one time. Said that, talking about how, that's very male specific, etc. But I think the key thing, and I think you've said it, because don't marry a man you can't submit to, because if you can't submit to his leadership, then we're going to be in trouble. We're absolutely going to be in trouble. Okay, so in that context, then we move it on to dating. How soon after meeting a guy and we are feeling each other do we decide that we need to get married?
I think that's an individual question for each and every single home. You see, we've missed the purpose in engagement You know, again, we spend more time preparing for the wedding than we do for the marriage. You know, if you look at the Jewish culture, the period of engagement and how that actually came about was a period of preparation for marriage. This is the period in which the guy got his money together to show the family. And this is where bride price comes into place. The whole bride price issue wasn't this. It wasn't simple because we're trying to sell our daughter, but was to prove to the family where you're taking their child that you have the capability to be able to look after the daughter that they were giving you. The wife as well will spend that period learning from the mother of the fiance how to cook, how to be a wife specific, because nobody care. Like, listen, there's like girls sitting here and they're like, I can cook ogbono soup, I can cook ewedu, I can cook efo and pounded yam. And your husband could be as English like as mine. He don't want to eat no pounded yam. He don't want to eat no ewedu. He wants to eat some stir fry. He wants to eat some Italian lasagna. And then you are a mess when it comes to that. So you spend the whole time not aligning yourself and preparing yourself to be his wife, but you could be somebody else's wife, perfect and great. But it's not about being somebody's wife. It's about being the best wife for him. Do you understand what I'm saying? So ain't nobody care whether you could cook ewedu if you can't cook what he want to eat. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's that whole period of preparation where you have prepared sufficiently to say, we can actually go into the next process of actually being a married couple. Then that's on you. That's different for each couple. I don't think you can put a timeline on that.
Okay, all right.
It comes down as a match.
Can I marry someone who I like him or I like her? She's great in so many other things, but I'm not feeling her physically. I'm not feeling him physically. There's no physical attraction. I'll be physically attracted to other people in my past, but with this particular one, it's not there.
No,
but
I've seen many people get married because they think this guy looks great or a girl looks great, right? And then she changes. She gets married, she gets pregnant. She goes from a size 8 to a size 16. She get the whole process and it messes her up physically, right? And then I've seen people who got married to the person, and then I'm not saying that physical appearance doesn't play a part. I don't think it plays as much as important as, and I feel like once you fall in love with a person, there's a way that you begin to see them as beautiful.
Yeah,
I don't know if that makes sense. That's why they say beauty is in the eyes.
So there's a real life case that says that she's so supportive, she's great, but I'm just not feeling her in the way that I felt previous people.
I think
I'm confused. Do I marry her? Do I not?
Well, I feel like this is for you to go and seek God's face on that matter, because marriage is a lot more than physical appearance. Let me ask a question. This is something that me and my husband, we spoke about one time, and we were like, in this the mess, and then we as the believers, we now copied him.
Yeah.
When Jay-Z came out and he cheated on Beyonce, everybody was like, what? He cheated? That's so many men's dream. Like, how do you cheat on Beyonce?
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? And the people were not saying he cheated on Beyonce with somebody that didn't even look half as good as Beyonce. A Becky with a good hair, right? Now, let's keep it real. Because it's a lot more. People are looking for a lot more than physical appearance, and the physical aspect of a marriage, though it's important, it doesn't uphold a marriage. So I feel like for me, why I think it's important for you to have these conversations with God, to say, okay, this is who am I? Because for me, I believe that God can put the love for a woman in your heart. So if he says that this is going to be your wife, she might not be your typical, but you will get to the place, you will find her attractive. She might not be your typical. However, if you feel like, I don't like this person, marriage is your choice. If you don't like her, don't marry her. Do you understand what I'm saying? But don't go around putting so much emphasis on the physical look. Because the truth is, I don't look the way I look when my husband met me at 19. That's the truth. You understand what I'm saying? So if he had built his whole point of being married to me on my physical look, he might be disappointed today. I still look good, by the way, but still, it's that.
Yes, we testify. Cool. Well, I think for that, for a lot of people, like for me, look, guys, let's be real, and I think we need to keep it real. For me, the looks department is very important because, and that's just being real. So you need to go to God and ask God that this thing must work. So as Mimi has said, go to God and ask God, is this my husband? Is this my wife?
So no, I think the looks is more important to guys than it is to girls.
Well, no, well, you might be surprised.
But the things are changing now. Love Island is changing so many things.
You'll be surprised that a lot of girls now want the perfect.
The thing is that I believe that when you get the all clear from God, like if you believe that this is something that God is telling you to do, that person might not be your usual, but there will be you will grow to begin to see the beauty in them. I don't believe that you would have a wife that you're not attracted to because you can't sleep with a person now. Do you understand what I'm saying? But I believe that this is something that God. What you people are doing is that they're skipping. So God might be telling them go get together with Jane, but because Jane is not the usual blonde hair that they date, right? And they usually then they shut it down and be like, I'm not attracted to those girls, right? But God might be telling you go there, and you look at it, then you begin to get to know Jane, and then all of a sudden you think, okay, I really like Jane. I really fancy her, and I like the way she looks, and that I'm beginning to her little dimple makes me smile and stuff like that. I'm not saying that you won't be physically attracted to your spouse. I'm not saying that at all. You will. They might not be your usual, but if God is speaking to you, don't shut down something that God might be telling you, right? Because you're so bang on what the type of girls that you usually go for. But I do think that, physical appearance is key. You have to be attracted to I wouldn't want my husband to fancy every other woman but me.
True. True. There's a comment here. It's not a question. It says, when I met him, I knew clearly and heard in my spirit that he was my husband. We were in a relationship for over 6 years, but he kept saying he's not ready to marry. Girls, this I'm not ready to marry with the guys is an issue. He then says, I moved on. Now he wants to come back. So can we address this elephant in the room of not ready to marry? How long do I wait for the guy to get ready?
No, but there's two questions here. She's moved on, and now he's coming back.
Come back. Well, girl, if you're still free, better grab your man.
What do you mean? What do you mean? She's moved on.
She's moved on, but she didn't say she's married.
But she's moved on.
Look, listen, come on the live. Are you not married? Or
let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, right? Let me tell you very real, right? Remember, ladies, I told you, you have to listen to Auntie Mimi. I'm talking to you, right? You got to put some value on yourself. Do you understand?
Yeah.
What you will not do is keep me on ground for 6 years. Go
6 years.
Find out what else is available in the market.
Coming back.
But he wasn't guys.
ready.
No, I'm going to play devil's advocate for the guys.
Let me tell you something. Even if I'm going to take you back, you're going to sweat. You are going to sweat so hard you would never dream about that again in your life. Do you understand?
But he wasn't ready.
No, what do you mean? So why did you come on my door? You don't go to the shopping center.
There's a comment. Says that
you know what I'm saying? What do I look like? A mannequin in the window that you just window shopping, just browsing the store?
He wasn't ready. He was arranging himself.
No, for 6 years.
For 6 years, he had to.
Do you go to the shop? Do you go to Louis Vuitton?
You go window shopping, don't you?
No, you don't go to Louis Vuitton and stay in Louis Vuitton for 6 years. They will get you out of their shop. you can browse for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, you need to find something to take to the till. If not, you need to bounce. Now, this is my issue, right? Let me tell you something. Also, my thing is this is also this over prolonging of courtship.
But the woman said she heard God now.
Well, God, you can hear God, but everybody has the free choice to obey God.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
The brother don't want to obey God, then you have to let him be and say, God, please free me from this bondage.
Wow.
Well, you have to go back to God. You have to go back to God because you have to look at the character-wise. A guy that stays around for 6 years, sniffing around, saying he's not ready. Anyway.
No.
That's tea for another day.
Okay, so another one.
Commitment issue.
Yeah, another one practically for married couples now. Guys, get questions in, particularly for those single and dating, is that so the husband is the head, we're told. but in decision making, there have been times when I don't agree with his decisions, and I have always found myself, what's the word, submitting to those decisions. But it's getting to a point now that is doing me one kind. What do I do? What do I do? Do I keep submitting until I explode, or what do I do?
Guys, do you know what I think one of the wisest things women can do is encourage their husbands to grow. You know, encourage their husbands to grow, create a platform for your, you know, women spend so much time nagging their husband about buying them shoes, cars, you know, bags, but we don't spend no time encouraging our husbands to grow. Like if you want to have an incredible, you know, can I say something? I'm going to speak on something, right? So many women, right, admire their pastors. They honor the men of God. Like, they look at them like, wow. Well, if you like that so much, then build. He doesn't have a special God, and he doesn't have three things. Then encourage and build your husband. What do you do as a couple? What is it that you're encouraging? What are the conversations you have? Okay, I'm maybe writing a book. What are you doing? How do you talk about your visions? Like, how are you making that? How is that man becoming great because he's with you? You know, we hear so much that Michelle Obama is the one who made Barack Obama. We hear that a lot, and we're all inspired by it. But what is it that we are doing, and how we encourage it? And let me tell you something that many women do. Many women frustrate the greatness in their husbands. Because when their men now get on that journey of pursuing their dreams and vision, then what they don't do is encourage the husbands in that. They're so desperate to be able to buy a handbag, to be able to go and paint their nails for £20, that they would rather the husband quit chasing his dreams so that he can get a job, so that they can buy a shoe, so that they can put a poster on their gram. And then
all for the gram.
For the gram. And then you now start admiring somebody else's husband because she pushed her husband to become as great as she wanted him to be. So for me, you know, if your husband keeps slipping up, it's because you also have to take responsibilities. Like, how are you building that man? But counsel is key. Counsel is key. Yeah.
Just to take you up on the point you made there about supporting his dreams. So he has a dream. He's had this dream for a while. He's been pursuing this dream, but it's not quite happened for him yet. But we've got bills. Mimi, we've got bills. Yeah, we got bills.
There's a Tyler Perry movie about that.
We've got bills. So I'm working. I'm bringing home money. We're doing what we can do. But he's still pursuing this dream. What do I do? What do I do?
Can I be honest with you? Like, I'm gonna share my own testimony, right?
Yeah.
So when we were dating, I was like, my husband was working, you know, a graduate job, regular, you know, income, and I was working in a corporation, and I was training to become the assistant director of the company, of a FTSE 1000 company, right?
Yeah.
But my husband shared me a vision, and I believed in his vision. I really did, right? We got married. I left that company. This is why I say purpose is really, really key, right? I left that company because it was clashing with my purpose. Now, I remember there was something that everybody was a project manager. Everyone was a project manager. And my husband had this accounting firm, right? And I'm used to it. I'm a South London girl, used to her nails, her hair, the wig always flowing, everything, right? And I'm used to a certain lifestyle. And my husband has this vision of having an accounting firm. All our friends are buying houses. All our friends are driving nice cars. And here we are as a young couple. And my husband would say, and he would be like, I want to get a job. And I said, you promised me a lifestyle. You promised me a dream. You shared with me a vision. I'm not satisfied with somebody's earning, how much they earn a day, 500 pounds a day. That's beneath the vision that you shared with me, right? It meant I had to learn to do my own hair. That's probably why you see me all the time. I don't have no tracks, honey. This is my hair. Because I learned to fall in love with my own hair because we couldn't afford the things that were good to put on the ground, right?
That's good, man.
I tell you something, even to the point where even our young children, we couldn't even afford basic things for the vision. Let me tell you something now. I live with a husband. People see me, I have conferences. My husband funds most of those conferences that goes in the tens of thousands of pounds, right? There is nothing that I could ask for that my husband couldn't afford for me to buy. Now, all the friends that he was looking at, or people were looking at, and they would be comparing themselves to themselves to be now. My husband has at a minimum earns 10 times what they earn. But I had to be sure to encourage, especially when doubt begins to creep. And this is what I'm talking about, ladies. If you want something in a man, you build it. Imagine I would have the testimony. The house that I live in, I could have prayed about it. In fact, when we got into the house, we realized that it had been my dream home, but we just didn't really believe God could do it. But pushing my husband to hold on to that vision, even when it was a temptation to quit, right?
Yeah.
That's what you talk about, girls. Let me help you now. When we talk about being a wife, that's what we're talking about when we're talking about being a wife. Now he's fulfilled in his vision. I'm happy. You understand what I'm saying? I'm happy. I can do whatever I want to do, but I had to contribute to that picture. So when so many women talk about, guys are not it, you have to ask what you play. Some women are they've taken the scissors and they've cut the hole in the husband's pocket. So no matter how much money keeps going in there, it keeps dripping out because of their wives. So the enemy is actually using the wives to destroy the home.
Wow. So keep believing in the dream, keep pushing the dream.
For me, but I'm not saying that this man is not I'm not telling you that this man is not working.
I got some people saying, what kind of dream is it? Is he a rapper or what?
This is what I'm saying. Now, let me tell you something. My husband, right, if you ask him what he is, he don't use the word entrepreneur, because I don't like that word entrepreneur. I need you to have a business and a business plan. I need you to tell me, are you an engineer? Are you an accountant? What are you? Don't tell me you're an entrepreneur. Tell me, what is it that you're pursuing? What is it that you see? And then you work tirelessly. You work harder than me to get to that dream. So there are times when my husband had a job and would be working. So he was working literally 20. My husband now generally on most days works 18 to 20 hours a day. Generally, right? Now, that's a habit he formed when he had to work a regular job to put food on the table and also go and keep pursuing his vision for the dreams of his business. So it wasn't like he wasn't a lazy ass man. He didn't have a dream. Like, he didn't have a daydream. He had a vision. There's a difference.
Come on.
You understand what I'm saying?
I think that's really key, because Mimi, you touched on vision, because I think because it also works in both ways. Sometimes that the wife could also have a vision, or the husband, because you had like really powerful stories of when God gives you like a vision, something that you see, something that heaven is telling you about this future you that heaven is asking to aspire to. And then when it's frustrating if you're in a marriage when your husband can say, well, no, this is important, blah blah blah, you have to chuck that up and then go do this, or maybe it could be go get a job, or go get this, or and then there were so many other things. But I think since we're talking about marriages and dating and stuff, that you have to be very careful. And then you have to be prayerful as well, because there's sometimes when, like you said, this vision that he's caught up with that future of, that vision that God gave him. And then it's so beneficiary to everyone, but everybody had to pay the price. Yeah. The children had to, your children had to sacrifice for that. You had to sacrifice for that. And sometimes sacrifice hurts. And, like you said, people want shortcuts. We want immediate. We want the bags now. We want our friends to value us. We want our friends to say, and the next thing. But there's sometimes when you have to put sacrifice for that future you. That is so great that heaven is asking you to aspire to. And I think that your that story that you shared is fantastic. It really is.
And someone says, Bookie, that Miss Dawes says, key point, he was still working while chasing his dream.
Yes,
because there's something that, maybe you said something about entrepreneur, but the thing is that some people, what you said about, because there's some skills that we need in that future, that there's something that God has pitched in you in your present that will help you build you build that muscle for the future. Because he was learning, because entrepreneurship, it takes a lot So there's some things, the skills that he was learning, the muscle he was building are going to work, but still, you know, going ahead and trying to do everything that he needs to get that himself up to that future level. Then he's not finding out that when he's there, oh wait, all that didn't go to waste because God used it. God absolutely used it. So there are no shortcuts in life, and God really, there's something that our mum says that God will never mismanage your life.
No.
So there are things that he's put in your presence that, you know, you just need to get on with, because it will definitely show up, you know, later on, and then you come to find it.
Okay, so we'll take 3 more questions and then we'll have to wrap it up, guys. So this one says, Christian dating is stress. Any tips?
That's great. I understand that. I totally understand it, because Christian dating is no longer just about, oh, I fancy you, let's get together. It's like, I fancy you, are we gonna get married? What's your vision? All that is that. Just pray. I'll pray for you right now. Let God just strengthen you in my child. You will get through it.
Yeah.
True. You're building something of great value. So, you know, like I said, it's not Primark. It's some Louis Vuitton stuff that you pass on to generations that has like a really good resale value. Not something that, you know, just chucking a bit off that.
Real talk. So how does forgiveness work in a marriage?
Oh gosh, that's such a forgiveness is something that I feel that you have to decide to forgive before the.
Sorry, Jenny, your question didn't get answered. Are you sure? Can you send it through? Okay. Jenny, you said your question didn't get answered. Please send it through. Sorry, Mimi, to interrupt you.
No. I feel like for me, you have to decide in a marriage, honestly, as hard as it can be, to forgive even before the sin is committed. You know, Jesus said that while we were yet sinners, he died for us. If you don't make a resolve, what you're saying is that there is sometimes I can forgive and sometimes I can't forgive. Some things I can forgive, some things I can't forgive. And then the key thing is to learn to forgive and forget. We hear a statement a lot that I'm going to forgive, but I will never forget, right? But what happens is that, you know, again, hear what God says. He says, when I forgive you and forget your sins as far as the east is from the west, meaning that they don't come together anymore. But what happens is that, for example, in a marriage, and what kills a lot of marriages is that maybe, for example, you do something to me today, my spouse does something to me today, and then we move past it. Then he does something similar next year. Then I'll be like, oh, last year you did it again. Something that we might have worked hard to move from. And then what happens is, like, I'm now no longer punishing him for one sin. I'm punishing him for collective things that I haven't moved on from. So I feel like it's so important for you to forgive in a marriage and forget. Decide that whatever my spouse does, I'm going to forgive. Go on. Sorry, sir.
So can sex be used as a tool in a marriage, a weapon?
No. You open your legs. Whenever he says you split your legs, split it.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Say it again. I think the married brothers out there say. Oh, wow. So you can't. So no headaches, right?
No. I mean, genuinely, obviously, if you really are sick, I feel like if a husband loves you, I feel like something that a lot of men need to learn is the skill of Joseph. The Bible says that Mary was pregnant and he had self-control sufficient enough not to trouble his wife for the period. Men do have to learn not to allow sex to own them. For them
some guys are raving about you here because you said split it. Open sesame.
24 hours a day, right?
Charlotte Risman says, I need Mimi on speak that. Oh, God.
Well, on a serious note, I feel like you just can't do that. That's not what it's for. You know, the Bible even says that it's not yours. It's just not yours to even say no to.
Yeah.
Ladies. And can I tell you a secret though, ladies? Let me tell you a secret, right? Again, come to mama. Let me talk to you, right? You see, the reason why the guys keep pestering us, right, is because we don't give it good enough. So
let's go there.
And let me help you now. Let me help you. What you've got to do is you've got to do this. You know he's gonna come, right? So you go to him before he comes. and you wear him out. You wear him out good so that he can give you a break for a couple of days. Wear him out good. That's what I'm saying. All right?
Wow.
Honestly. So genuinely, there's a secret to it.
Yeah. Good. I like that one. You're very popular among the guys now, so all of them are.
So ladies, I love you. I'm for you. I'm rooting for you. I'm just sharing the tips.
Yeah. Guys, don't forget what we said last week or the week before when we said, I remember some people will never forget this word Jerusalem, but I said that even though we're talking about this sex thing, guys, you must make sure she gets there.
Yes. Yeah. Listen.
You must make sure she gets there. Because that could be the reason why she has headaches all the time.
But this is the thing. Do you understand what I'm saying? No, guys, let me help you out.
My wife is blushing. Yes.
No, let me help you out, guys, as well, right? The reason why your lady will almost have like a, oh gosh mentality, right, is because, you know, she's been maybe dealing with the kids. She's been going for all manners of things. But the experience wasn't even worth it the last time. So you got to up your game. Do you understand what I'm saying? Whatever is necessary to make her happy, they learn how to do it. And remember I said, we become students. You're learning about your wife. So learn what makes her happy. What is it that she likes? Let her talk to you during sex. Let her say what she likes and what she likes. Because some guys are doing things that their wives don't like and they keep doing it.
There's so many guys on this comment. As like the comments are a bit.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, it's too
so,
happy.
Guys, finish your husbands before he comes to finish you. Yeah. Mimi said it.
Yeah, we pounded yams, you know, pasta, you know, the whole works.
So there's a question. The question that said, so what if you're a Christian and you're dating and you're remaining celibate, but once you get married, you don't want to have sex anymore because of you're not in it, you're not so crazy about it anymore.
We answered that question, didn't we?
I did. I thought we did answer the question, and I said, well, it didn't happen to me, but perhaps.
I remember you saying that.
What's your view on that question, so we can do it justice?
I think we can make there's a because somewhere, but
I think what she's saying that is because they've been celibate for so long that they fear that they're gonna lose their sex drive. If you speak to most people, I don't think that's the reality of the truth. Remember, we said in the beginning as well, is that it's the mentality in which we speak about sex. I feel the only reason we're going to have an issue when it comes to sex is when we spend our whole dating period thinking sex is evil. So sex is not evil. When you realize it's a pure thing, by the time you're now allowed, you're like, it's like a good wine or a good chocolate or a good something. You've been saving it. Once you're not allowed to, you don't be like, oh, I don't want to use it anymore. Your whole body is ready to release. So it's just natural. Your whole body releases. But what you don't do is spend your entire time thinking that this is a bad thing. And then all of a sudden, one day of marriage and it's going to be a good thing. Sex is good. Yeah.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. Right, guys, thank you for everything and all the questions. I don't think I've got any more questions. Hopefully we've answered all the questions. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Mimi. Thank you so much. Particularly for the very short notice which we're sorry about, but thank you for coming through and dropping some massive gems on us. This is fantastic. So thank you so much, guys. I want Mimi to say a word of prayer over everyone and just say a word of prayer over particularly people who are dating, who've then decided to go on the journey of celibacy, and those who are also looking to God for their life partner. Can you just say a prophetic word over them, please?
Heavenly Father,